Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Mac and Talk number 52 for Tuesday, October 24th, 2023. I am your facilitator, Chanelle Allen, and we are glad that you are joining us either live now.
Chanel,
What?
are we doing a cloud recording or?
Yes, this is Mac and Talk. This is being done to the cloud, which I have taken care
But
of.
okay, so we're not doing the local.
No,
Sorry,
we
I
are
was confused
not.
on that. Okay,
That's
sorry.
all right. We return to our regularly scheduled programming. All right. So, Mac and Talk is a Q&A conference call for anyone with Mac questions, even before you're getting started and you're trying to consider if it's the right device for you. Or maybe you have a Mac and you're just getting started with VoiceOver and need some encouragement or some tips. Or you could be a longtime Mac user with a question about an app or a feature for whatever reason. I am glad that you are joining us now live or later on via the podcast recording. Before we get to the best part, your questions, I just want to let you know about some other really awesome things we have going on at iBug. And before I do that, though, there's always things I'm bound to forget because we have over, I think, 20 events per month. It's crazy. And the best way to keep up with all of that is to visit our website and social media. On the web, we can be found at ibugtoday.com. It's a great place to go. You can register to become a member. Registration is free, as well as participating in any and all of our training and social events. There is no cost to you. Also on the website, you will find a link to an upcoming events, a list of upcoming events. Right now we just have October's, but November's will be posted soon. You can also find various links, including Mac and Talk, which will allow you to listen to previous recordings. Speaking of the Mac and Talk link, my contact info is listed there, as well as the subscription information for our Mac and Talk email discussion list. That's a great place to ask questions in between the calls. Moving on to our social media, we are on Facebook, facebook.com/groups/ibugtoday. And our announcements are posted there. In addition, many people ask questions in between our events. We talk about iOS and iDevices, so we have lots of questions about that. But anything, people share resources, and it is helpful. You can also find us on X and Instagram at iBugToday, and I know our announcements are faithfully posted to those platforms as well. Moving on to podcasts. You can find us in any podcast app or smart speaker of choice. Just ask for iBug Buzz, iBug Mac and Talk, iBug Cafe, and iBug Apple Workshop. And there's more. We even have a YouTube channel. If you just go to youtube.com and look for iBug Today, and some of us were talking about how you can use YouTube on your Mac right before this call started, but look for iBug Today and you will find our previous workshops up there. You will also find playlists, and one of those playlists contains lessons from the previous Mac course. And as far as what's coming up this week, Thursday from 7 to 9 p.m. Central. All things take place on the iBug Today Zoom, unless noted otherwise. We have It's iBug's Life, and the topic is getting out and about. It's basically talking about transportation and using that transportation. So that's from 7 to 9, facilitated by George Batiste. On Friday, iBug Night at the Virtual Movies, beginning at 7:15 with the pre-movie social and Michael's Argle Bargle. I just like that word. Anyway, so we have that at 7:15, followed by the movie at 8. And this week we are featuring The Wizard of Oz, and a discussion follows. On Saturday, the iBug Apple Workshop. So that is Saturday the 28th from 2 to 4 p.m. And that's to talk about all the latest news and rumors with Apple. And some of our members will demonstrate their favorite apps. And then next Monday and every Monday from 7 to 9 p.m., we have iBug Buzz, and that is to talk about your iOS devices and all the accessories that go along with them, pretty much Anything we don't talk about on Mac and Talk is fair game for iBug Buzz. Well, unless it's Windows, which we don't talk about anywhere. Um, and then we have events in Clubhouse. I don't think we'll have any next week, but in general, the first and third Tuesdays are iBug Mac Buzz, and the second and fourth are iBug Mini Buzz, and those take place from 5 to 6 p.m. And there's a ton of other events, if you want to know about our iBug Cafe, iBug Vila Book Club, iBug Trekkie Talk, iBug Unplugged, and probably others I'm not thinking of, iBug Android Insight, check our website. But right now, we are going to hear from you. So we'll go around the room, say who you are and where you're calling from, and let us know if you're joining us for the first time.
Hi, it's Vanessa from Georgia.
Vanessa, welcome.
Thank you.
Hi, it's Desi from
This
Tennessee.
Welcome, Desi.
Herbie in Houston.
Hello.
Hello,
It's
it's
Jay
Darlene
from
from Utah.
Oh, okay. I heard somebody in Utah. I heard three of you. Did I hear Janet, Charlene, and who
And
else?
Dar. Yeah, it was me.
Dar. Okay.
That's
Welcome, all of you.
impressive.
Joe from Moscow, Idaho.
Welcome, Joe.
Tammy from Connecticut.
Hi, Tammy.
Judy from Connecticut.
Welcome, Judy.
My
Hello,
friend.
this is Raheel.
Hello, Raheel.
Albany, New York. Currently have a MacBook Air 13-inch M2 chip
Awesome.
2022. They're supposed to make 2023, but they don't do that.
All right, we'll talk about that in just a minute. So, yeah, glad you're here, though. Anyone else?
This is
Crystal,
Gail.
Crystal in North Carolina.
Okay, Crystal, welcome, and Gail. Glad you could be here tonight, too.
Thank you.
Tammy from Toronto.
Did I hear you say Tammy?
Yes.
Oh, great. Okay, we have two Tammys. Welcome.
Dan,
Brad.
Southern California.
Dan, welcome.
Brad in rainy Dallas, Texas.
All right. Welcome, Brad.
And Jane from California.
Jane, welcome.
Mary Ellen Earl, Scottsdale, Arizona.
Hi, Mary Ellen.
Jeffrey in Oklahoma.
Hi, Jeffrey.
Ray from Maine.
Hello, Ray. All right. Well, welcome everybody. Feel free, even if you haven't introduced yourself now, feel free to ask a question at any time. I don't think we had any new callers. I'm just looking at our list. So who would like us to get started with our first question?
Raheel?
Yes, Raheel?
Number one is I would like to know how to set up the time announcement on my Mac. And number two, I would like to know the history of the M1 and versus M2 MacBook Air and how different the voiceover is with that and things like that. And I don't know what my other question was that I brought up before. So
Well, that's okay. So we will take your first question, and then you can always ask later on once other people have had a turn. But your first question was, how do you set the time announcement on your Mac? Is anyone able to answer that for Raheel? And can you actually explain, because I don't think we've talked about this in my class. So, Raheel, what is it that you mean by time announcement?
This is Herbie.
Oh, well, okay. Go ahead, Herbie.
So I can explain the time announcement real quick. It's so you can have your Mac announce the time at the top of the hour, and you can also have it do on the quarter hour or the half hour or both. And the way you do it now is very different than where it used to be. You need to go into the clock in the control center, I think is where they put it now.
I believe you're right. Does anybody else?
wait, hold on.
Jane.
So where do I have to go once I get to the control center on the clock?
Okay, so Jane, go ahead.
Wait, where is the clock in the control center? And I customize my control center, so I don't even know where I put mine. But where is it? And I didn't even see a clock in the control center.
All right. Well,
It's Brad.
yes, Brad.
Well, I'd go back to your original question. Raheel, what exactly is it that you want to do? I mean, do you want the computer to announce the time automatically on its own, or do you
Yes.
want to know how to make it announce the time when you want it to announce, when you push a button or
Well,
whatever?
so first of all, my Mac is saying 1930 or 1919 instead of 7:19 p.m. or something is wrong with the time, and also I want it to announce the time every hour.
Okay. That would be kind of like where Herbie was talking about. I think the time you go into the settings system, we call them now system settings. They used to be called system preferences. Same thing. Go into your system preferences. You can get to from a number of ways, from the Apple menu, or it's probably on the dock. I like the dock because you can then open a shortcut menu and go directly to your category, and you can type, I believe it's time and date. It's or is it date and time? Anyway, once you go in there, you get your choice of a number of things. Like Herbie was talking about, there's a setting in there to, if you wanted to announce the time on the hour, the half hour, the quarter hour, you can make it announce that on its own. There's also a way to adjust. Do you want to have, somehow yours is set to 24-hour time, or you can change it to regular AM, PM time. And those are all going to be found in time and date under system settings, I believe.
Yeah, because I know with Sonoma it's a little different, right, Herbie? You said it was
This
a
is
little bit.
Herbie.
Oh, now okay. I was trying to talk. I was muted. All right. So, Herbie, go ahead, and then I have a comment.
Yeah, the 24-hour time, that I think is in date and time. I don't think that's in the other control. But
No.
yet, but things are a little bit laid out differently in Sonoma for some things, yes.
So it's actually it is in the control center. So you go to system settings, like Brad said, and then you look for control center, and then there's something at the near the end called clock options. And in that you do set 24-hour time as well as controlling the time announcement. So hopefully that helps. Yeah, just go to your system settings and then go to control center and then look for clock at the end. All right. So who would like to ask our next question?
This is Herbie.
Yes, Herbie.
Something that might be of interest to people is there is going to be another Apple announcement next Monday at 7 p.m. And right now, the theory is that it's going to be strictly Mac related. And the rumor
Ah,
mill is saying that it'll be about the M3 Mac. So if you were thinking about purchasing a Mac, wait until next week and let's see what Apple announces.
all right.
This is Brad.
Yes, Brad.
I don't think we know for sure what it is. What I have read is that it has to do with a 24-inch iMac. And it's
Ah,
possible they might be announcing an M2 version of that, and the M3s may not be ready yet. So we really won't know until next, what is it, Monday evening. For whatever reason, they're doing it at 5 Pacific, like Herbie said, 7 p.m.
okay.
Texas time. So
That's weird. All right.
we really don't know what it is.
Mystery will
So
be
this is
revealed.
Herbie.
Yes, Herbie.
Yeah, so on Mastodon earlier, 9 to 5 Mac was saying because of like the Easter egg logo, that had something to do with Apple. So that's why I was saying the rumor mill is saying that it's going to be strictly Mac related. So I
All
don't know what the
right.
Easter egg logo has anything to do with anything, but that's what 9 to 5 Mac was saying. So and they're usually a pretty reliable source. So
All right. Well, very good. We will look forward to that. Who would like
This
to
is
ask her? Yep.
sorry. This is Jane with a couple
Yes,
of
Jane.
questions on Sonoma. uh, for me, I know widgets aren't gonna be gone forever, but if I set a widget on my Mac, would it be transferred to my phone, or do I have to do that independently? And every time I have to set this a couple times, but I have my voiceover set to automatically talk when I turn on my Mac, but sometimes it turns off by itself, and I don't know. I have to keep resetting the setting to keep it, talking during.
So what turns off? That where it comes up at login, that part, or it just randomly?
Yes.
Oh, that.
No,
Okay.
and I don't know how to. I had to set it a couple times. It doesn't stick.
Okay. So who can help Jane?
Says Brad.
Yes, Brad.
Jane, are you on Sonoma? Are you still on Ventura?
Sonoma.
Okay. I haven't been experiencing since Sonoma. That was a ongoing problem with Ventura. It just didn't seem to stick. In any either way, you want to go to your system settings. You want to go to what's it say? Log on. I always forget what they are. I know what they are when I'm going.
It's in lock screen.
Lock screen. Thank you. I knew it was an L word. And if you'll go in there, navigate to that scroll area, go all the way to the bottom, you see a button that says accessibility options. Click that button, interact with the little dialogue that pops up, and the top item will be voiceover. You want to check that and then stop interacting, go down there to the apply or button.
Done button. No.
Yeah, thank you. Done, apply, done, whatever. It's the button. And that should make your that choice stick. Okay.
And it sounds like though that it's not sticking for you. Is that what?
Yeah, and so I mean that's fine. I'll keep going to those settings every time. I guess if it doesn't stick, but it used to do that in Ventura. It used to stick. But it's okay. I mean, it's only a silicone Mac, right?
What was the first part of your question?
Widgets.
Widgets.
I don't
Okay.
like widgets, but I guess they're here to stay. But if I set a widget on my Mac, can it transfer to my phone?
Does anyone know about widgets? Well, no, they don't work that way. Unfortunately, you can have iPhone widgets show up on your Mac, but you still have to manually add them. You can't add a widget on your Mac and have it automatically show up on your phone. But who knows that they are trying to make more and more things in sync. So maybe one of these years they'll allow you to do that. But right now, no.
This is Brad.
Yes, Brad?
I haven't messed with this because I'm not a big fan of widgets, but my understanding is if you make a widget from your iPhone show up on the desktop of your Mac, it's only there when your Mac is near to your, when your iPhone is near to your Mac. Is that correct?
Yes.
Because it's a Bluetooth thing. And so if your phone's out of Bluetooth range, no more widget. Okay. And don't they show up in Control Center? And you have to drag them, which is difficult to do with voiceover.
Actually, you know what? I was trying and the solution was way simpler than.
Okay, good. What is it?
You can actually do it accessibly. It's totally. And it's not. It's you have to go into the notification center and then to widgets and edit. But then you find the widget and you. A VO command space on one of the previews, and then it'll say drag to desktop, and that's all you have to do.
Oh, okay.
Then do you actually drag, the way we used to do with the
Yeah,
mouse
no, you
down
don't
command?
do it. Does it. It does it.
You just tell it to put drag to desktop means put it on the desktop
Yeah.
and it'll just do
It
it.
makes the dragging sound, like it does make that sound, but
Okay,
it's
cool.
doing it for you. You're not having. Yeah, I was
Okay.
trying all those old things that we used to do, and that none of those worked. It was just the very simple. Um, for a really good demo of that, have a look at Unmute Presents, their podcast, in a couple weeks
Mm-hmm.
back. That's how I learned about what to do. All right. Great question. Who else? What's our next question?
Desi. So
Yes, Desi.
you don't have to use widgets though, right?
No, you don't.
I've never used one and I don't intend to.
No,
So
you don't have to. No, you not at all.
I don't know. What is the big appeal to widgets? I guess I don't understand. Maybe if I thought they were wonderful, I would use them, but
They're like little, I don't know, previews of what. So you don't want to, like, for example, I don't want to open an app. I can look at the widget preview on my screen. So say like for pedometer, my widget is there for my steps, but I don't have to open the app to look at it.
Yep. Yeah, that's a good example. And just remember, we do say our names before we talk, but it's easy to forget. That's okay. Yeah, or my Dexcom. I have that. I don't always want to open the Dexcom app to know my blood sugar, but when the widget is on my screen, I can just kind of feel it right there or find it and know what it is. So, yeah, it's a quick glance. Some people have the weather widget, and so they can quickly see, what the temperature is outside. So it's just a quick glance at a bit of info.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
This is Brad.
Yes, Brad.
So do you navigate to the widget on your desktop, then interact with it?
You do, yes.
And then VO right or left arrow to read whatever be it the weather or your Dexcom information or.
Yep, you do.
Okay. And I guess you have no idea where these things are. I would imagine they're put on the right-hand side of the screen.
Well, mine it seems to be before all my other stuff. Like if I go to my desktop now, so it seems to be to the left of my, like ACB is my first alias, then I have weather. If I VO left, then VO left again. And I can't VO left any further. So Dexcom is there at the beginning and then, but that's at least on mine. So I don't know how it would appear on somebody else's. But
how many things do you have on your desktop?
I just have a bunch of let's see, I have a Dex, 2 widgets, and then I have
about aliases?
5, 7 aliases and OneDrive.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. All right. Great. Well, who would like to ask our next question?
Audio now unmuted.
Raheel?
Yes, Raheel.
Raheel?
Yes, Raheel, go ahead.
So, so once you, I had to do this at the Apple Store when I bought my Mac, which is set up as new because I knew it was gonna take about 2 hours to get everything transferred over, and then I had to get my How do you actually get your folders that you had on your old one back on your desktop, or do you have to do the transfer thing that it comes with instead of setting it up as new, or how does that work? Because I do not, if I ever needed to buy a new Mac, I just wouldn't want to stay at the store and set it up and then have to set it up as new. Or should I have people observe me at the store setting it up on my own? Like how would this work for setting it up when I buy a new Mac in the future?
Okay, so who wants to talk about setting up a new Mac and transferring things and
Audio now unmuted.
I'm talking
This
about
is Herbie.
Zoom.us
folder,
new window.
the folder that I had on my original to be on this one or the future one.
Okay, Herbie, go ahead.
So, what I recommend is don't try to do anything with Time Machine or anything like that. What you want to do is use iCloud Drive or a hard drive, external hard drive, to back up your folder full of files. And then also you can back up your voiceover preferences and the voiceover utility under the file menu. And then you can go to your new Mac, plug either the hard drive in or log into your cloud service and wait for everything to sync up. And then you can import your voiceover preferences, and then the only thing you'll need to do is reinstall any external applications, and you should be good to go.
Audio now unmuted.
Thank you very much, Herbie. Is so I wouldn't have to do it at the store myself, right? I would have to do it when I
you can do it right at home.
Okay.
Yeah, this is Brad.
Yes, Brad.
Yeah, going forward, learn to use stuff like iCloud and don't store your stuff locally for a number of reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Setting up a new Mac is one of them, but the other is if it's on your Mac and something happens to your Mac, you've lost it. But if you use iCloud, and you might want to pay for $2.99 a month to get 200 gigabytes of iCloud storage and start keeping your documents and a lot of other stuff will be just kind of wants to default to iCloud. There's other services as well, Dropbox. I use them both for different things, but you will have some local stuff, and like what Herbie's talking about. Obviously, I assume you still have your old Mac. It's worth buying a external USB drive. Probably, I would, you get a 1 terabyte drive for not very much money, and then you go and copy your home folder from that old Mac, and now it's on the external USB drive, and you can then plug that drive in there, and then you can copy stuff from the home folder that's on the USB drive to your local home folder on the new Mac. But as far as documents, data, you can even sync your desktop and documents folder that then it will by default be in iCloud Drive. And then when the time comes to get a new Mac, really all you have to do is, as far as your documents and data, sign into iCloud, and it's just there. And what Herbie was talking about though is, you may want to any applications you got from the Mac App Store, you can just go there, go to your purchases, and just go through the list and just they'll reinstall them. And as far as anything else you got, like apps like, for example, Zoom is not in the Mac App Store. You have to go to the Zoom website and download it. You just reinstall those and, things of that nature. So it'll take you a little while, but I think starting up from a clean install, a clean setup is the best way to go, because you leave behind all the clutter and cache files and temp files and all kinds of other garbage that you don't even know is there on the old Mac. I don't,
Audio now unmuted.
That's how I always do it.
Zoom.us has new window.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. It's better to start out fresh and then just, put in the files that you need yeah, great question.
Another comment that I have, it's Raheel, another question that I have is, once I trade in my Mac into the store, should I stay and observe them clearing all my data off my other Mac, because I still saw it in my account area under my iCloud.
This is Herbie.
When I did
Yes,
that, I
Herbie.
saw it.
You should be deleting your Mac account before you even go into the Apple Store. So you need to make sure yourself that it's actually deleted, so that when you trade it in, it's already back to its factory defaults.
Right. When I went into system settings and my name and iCloud and all that, I saw a MacBook Pro 13-inch on my iCloud account.
I still see old computers in mine that are no longer in existence, and that is a whole confusing screen, and it just throws everything off when you try to delete something. So I personally just don't even worry about it.
Yes,
Thank you.
Brad.
If you go into that section, Apple ID, you can sign out of your iCloud account. That's the first thing you do. And then forgive me, I can't remember where it is, but just like on it used to be much more difficult on a Mac, but now they have it set up so it's like the iPhone. You can go and there is into a place, Herbie, for refresh me on where it is, because I haven't had to do it since it's existed. But there's reset, and it will wipe your Mac and make it back to like it was on factory default. It used to be a much more difficult process than it is, but you want to take care of all of that yourself before you take it into the store. That way you know.
Why do you have to sign out of iCloud?
Because why do you sign out of iCloud?
Yeah, like I thought they do it right there when you buy a new Mac.
Because you don't want, that's your identity. And you don't want to give someone a Mac that's signed in to your personal identity. And when you're not done with that Mac, that's the first thing I do, sign out of iCloud. That'll remove it from that list of all those devices. Then you go into system settings, and we'll figure out where it is in a minute, and I'll tell you, and find where it says reset, and that will wipe your Mac of all the apps. It'll basically wipe the drive and make it the Mac like it was when it was brand new and someone turned it on for the very first time. But no, you do not ever give away,
do that yourself.
hand in anything, your Mac, that's still, unless you sign out of iCloud first, and don't depend on someone else to do it for you. Do it yourself.
Okay, thank you.
It's Mary Ellen.
Yes, Mary Ellen.
I took a Mac Mini over in May to be recycled. It was a 2014 Mac Mini, and I didn't know how to do this. I did sign out of iCloud, and I asked the Apple representative, I said, what am I going to do? How do I get rid of all this data? And he said, when it gets to the factory, they will take that hard drive out and erase it and probably destroy it. So, I mean, that's what he told me. But
Yeah,
I had definitely signed out of my iCloud account before I left home.
Right. I think though you still, if at all possible, want to make sure because you don't know how scrupulous or not the person that's going to be erasing it is going to look at. I don't know. But yeah, go ahead, Herbie.
I was going to say the exact same thing. You don't want to take any unnecessary chances. So just, you trust that they're being, honest, but, any precautions you can take yourself, you're going to be much better off in the long run. So.
Yep, and as soon as Brad or somebody finds where we go to reset our Macs, by all means interrupt and let us know. Because that's really important. So if you find it,
I'm looking right now.
Okay. In the meantime, who would like to ask the next question?
This is Herbie.
Yes, Herbie.
I think I found it.
Oh.
There is an option in the system settings if you do the menu bar, the contact shortcut menu option called transfer and reset. I don't remember where it's at in the long way around of things, but if you do the systems, there is a transfer and or reset option. So
very good. Wonder if it's in general, but at least yes. So that's the one way you get to it. You do VOD for your dock, SY for system settings, VO Shift M, and then you arrow down or first letter navigation to find it.
I'm sorry, where'd you find it? Did you go to transfer under?
Transfer.
Did you open the shortcut menu for the?
Yes.
Okay.
And then there's
I'm sitting here trying to type reset, and that doesn't work.
No, but do transfer and reset, and
Audio now
I think you'll
unmuted.
find it there.
And
Zoom.us.
shortcut is where the Wi-Fi controls are, right? Is that what you're talking
No,
about?
it's under general is actually where it is. And then there'll be a category under general. That's the way it is on your iPhone.
Yep.
They've done their best now to make system settings on the Mac sort of be similar to settings on an iOS device.
Yep.
But
And
that's where
this is
it'd be
Herbie.
under general.
Yes, Herbie.
To answer your question, Raheel, shortcut is the context menu, your VO Shift M. So if you do your VO Shift M on like system preferences from the dock, it'll bring up a lot of the options without having to actually open it. Your shortcut is like, the control panel is what control center is what you were thinking of, and that's like function C, and then function N is your notification center. So
Yeah. Transfer or reset. That's it. And you want to do that. I mean, you give your computer, even though you've signed out of iCloud, you hand your computer, like Chanelle said, you don't know how scrupulous, you know how honest they are. And there's all kinds of personal information that remains on your computer, even though you've signed out of iCloud. So yeah, you don't hand it over to them and go, okay, guys, take care of it for me. I mean, I used to do that when I turned in an iPhone, but they'd sit there and show you what they're doing, signing out of this, signing out of that. And, I was kind of new, but now, of course, I know how to do all that myself. And I don't even take mine to the store anymore. They will send you a box and you take care of it all and put it in the box and send it in.
Yep. Very good. Yeah.
And then they give you your credit for the return item, and it shows up on your original form of payment, and you get credit for the sales tax and everything.
Yep. All right. Well, are we ready? Let's see if we can move on to a different topic. If anyone has something.
Chanelle, hi, it's Vanessa.
Hi, Vanessa.
Hi. I came across on YouTube you teaching the class, I think it was last year, about the Mac computer. So is everything the same like it's in the class that you're teaching now? I don't know if that class is finished yet, but I'm just wondering, is it basically the same?
It's basically the only difference is I don't think so. I'm not sure if the YouTube one was for when we were doing Ventura. I'm not sure if we were. So some things do change slightly. There was pretty significant change in Ventura in terms of how system settings is done. Just the different layout, slightly different layout. But for the most part, everything pretty much stays the same.
Okay. Well, I'm
The
not
only thing
familiar with all
YouTube
that.
doesn't have, of course, is the focus questions or the study sessions.
Right,
But
exactly.
yeah.
Right. Okay. So the class that you just finished or going to be finishing, is that going to be on YouTube eventually?
Yes, it will.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. It's all new. I'm lost, but I'll get it.
It's okay. Well, you can, anybody, I don't want to spend too much time on this, but you can always request to be added to the waiting list to take the class, if that ever works out in your schedule. But if not, we're happy to answer questions for you here or in the Macintalk email list or wherever you need. So,
okay.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Who would like to ask our next question?
This is Tammy.
Yes, Tammy, go ahead.
I have a question. Where can I find more information on Zoom? Because I think I might have fixed my problem, but I'm not positive. But I noticed that in Sonoma, I have to um, turn my trackpad on to get things selected for some reason in my voiceover utility for some strange reason. So in order to turn QuickNav back on, which I needed to do, I think because Zoom's not acting right with just the arrow keys. So I turned it back on um and I had to select it, but I seem to have trouble lowering hands. I talked about this. So where can I find more information on Zoom on the Mac if I can? Some miracle.
You know what? If I were you, I would almost reinstall Zoom and start. I know that sounds weird. I, but as far as, yeah, are there any, does anybody know of good guides for using Zoom on
This
the
is
Mac? I
Brad.
think is what Tammy's asking. Yeah, go ahead, Brad.
I don't really know of any good guy. I don't know. I mean, I didn't understand what kind of problem you're having. I mean, I don't. I keep trackpad. I mean, I keep QuickNav off. Is that what you say? You have to turn it on?
I turned it back on to see if this would work, and of course with the last two hosting things that I've done with it, I haven't had to lower anybody's hands. So unfortunately, I'm not sure if it's going to work or not, but for some reason when I'm interacting, even though I'm interacting with a table, um I'm not able to lower hands.
Okay.
So it's getting
Leave.
crazy.
Okay. Leave QuickNav off first of all.
Okay. Okay.
Then you're gonna Command U will open and close the participants panel.
Yeah, got
And
that one.
generally, when you open it, your focus is on it. But if
Right.
it's not, you VO right and left. You'll find the search that's above the list of participants. You get the participants panel. You're going to interact with it. You're going to
Correct.
VO right and left arrow. That'll move you up and down. It's like a table, but it's only got one column. So
Right.
VO right and left. You can also, what kind of Mac you using? What kind of keyboard you got?
MacBook Air, and I have the regular
Okay.
keyboard right now.
Okay. Well, that's just, you say you're using an external keyboard?
No, just the regular
Okay, the
app.
one that's on there. Okay.
Yep, that
So
one.
what do you use for your voiceover modifier? Command option or caps lock?
Command option right now. I have
Okay.
it set to both.
Okay. So
So
you get in there, you can hold down command, you hold down your
You
VO
mean control
modifier. If you
option.
press the FN key, or maybe yours has that little globe symbol, meridian, it's the same thing. It's the
yeah,
FN
yeah,
key, no matter what they call it. And when you hold that key down, it turns your right and left arrow into home and end. So VO and FN and press the left arrow, it'll take you to the top of the panel. VO FN right arrow that's the end key will take you to the bottom. So
right,
you can quickly get from the bottom to the top, but generally your hands are all up at the top. The first name at the top is you. The
yeah,
second name is the host if it's not you, and then any co-host. But between the host and the co-host are the raised hands. You get to somebody, you interact with them, and then VO right, you'll find a button to lower their hand. You'll find another button to ask them to unmute. You'll find another button that says
yeah,
more, and you VO spacebar on that. It opens like a little shortcut menu with a number of different things in it.
yeah.
When you're
That's what
done,
I see.
you stop interacting to get
Right,
out of that person, and then you
right,
can VO up and down to other people. That's pretty much it. Just
yeah,
practice it.
yeah. It's just
And
it's yeah. It's not allowing me to even when I get to the lower hand. It's not lowering them when I do
are
the
you a host or co-host?
host.
It should let you. I
Yeah, I know. That's what I said too.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been using it every day for years.
It's being
And
weird.
well, like Chanelle said, go to your applications menu, open the shortcut menu and select delete, get rid of it, and then download the installer from the Zoom
Again.
website, zoom.us/downloads,
Yep.
and just reinstall it and start from scratch.
Okay. I will give that a shot. Thanks. Thanks, guys.
You're welcome. Thanks, Brad. All right. It's frustrating when programs like to be difficult and yeah. Anyway, who would like to bring up our next topic? Well, one really neat thing that I've started doing, and it's pretty in Mac OS, whatever we are on now, Sonoma. There we go. You can take websites that you visit often. So we add websites to favorites or bookmarks, but you can also go to a website and then in Safari go to the file menu, and there's something called add website to dock. And so it essentially creates like a little well, it puts that website in the dock. It kind of creates it so it looks like an app in the dock. But um, I've done that for my Wordle, um, for a couple of the Google Sheets that I get to quickly, but it's just nice. And it's an alternate, it's kind of like on your iPhone, how you can add a web page to your home screen. So you can just add a web page to your dock on the Mac. And that's one new thing I have tried on my Mac. Are there any features in Sonoma that I guess Sonoma didn't introduce too much that's new, but um, have all of you updated? Are you having any problems with Sonoma? It's been out for a while now, but um,
This is Charlene.
yes, Charlene.
I apologize, Chanel, but I didn't follow that. How did you get that to add to the doc? You went to the website and what did you do?
Then I went to the file menu, and then there's an option way down in there called add to dock. And when you do that, then it gives you some options. You can choose the name. You can either just press enter VO space, or you can go in and edit the name that it'll be referred to as on the dock. And yeah, that's pretty
Okay,
much the only option you can
thanks.
change it. Yeah.
I didn't realize that you could do that from menu. Thank you.
Yeah, well, it's new in Sonoma. I discovered it the other day by accident, and then I think there's some sort of guide about it on Applevis, which I haven't gotten around to reading, but yep, it's a new feature.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This is Desi.
Yes, Desi.
I am wondering, I mean, I know that most people use Safari on the Mac, because it is the default browser and all that. Do other people have experience with using other browsers like Chrome? And like Chanel, do you ever use a different browser besides Safari? But does anybody? Is that really a thing that we might want to look into because it might make things easier or different?
This is Herbie.
Yes, Herbie.
So Safari is best at protecting your privacy, but Chrome sometimes does display things a little differently. The Dropbox website is one that I definitely prefer Chrome for over Safari. The Comcast, if you're a streaming Comcast customer, I like that a little bit better on Chrome than on Safari as well. But so it can display some things differently. I still prefer Safari overall, but there are a couple of sites that I do prefer Chrome for.
Mhm.
This is
Yeah.
Herbie.
Yes, Herbie.
Sorry, one other advantage with Chrome though is if you were using it previously, like on Windows, and you were using it to store your passwords, then you can access those on the Safari version of Chrome. So that is another potential advantage if you need to recover passwords for websites that you didn't log into, like on your phone or whatever.
Yeah, well, that for me wouldn't be a thing, but yeah, I can see that that could be useful for you.
This is Brad.
Yes, Brad.
Yeah, I want to second what Herbie said. I use Chrome. I mean, I use Safari 99.9% of the time, but every now and then you will come across a website. I certainly avoid the Dropbox website like the plague because I don't really need it, but I've never really had a problem with it on Safari, but maybe I don't use it enough to have discovered any issues with it. But every now and then you come across a website that doesn't render as well in Safari as it does in the Chromium based browser. And by that, Chrome, I never liked Edge on the Mac. I tried it. And I haven't tried Brave as well.
I didn't like Edge on Windows.
Yeah, I don't like it on Windows either. And I use Chrome on Windows when I have to, but I've been using Brave more because I just know Google they're collecting information. That's how they make their money, is by selling advertising. And everything they do is designed to gather data that helps them sell targeted advertising. But there are certain websites that a Chromium browser and Google's probably the best at a Chromium based browser. And there are some websites that just render better on Chrome and perhaps Brave. I haven't really tried it on the Mac in a long time, but they just work better. So I keep, you always want another tool in your toolbox. It's like, you've always heard more than one screen reader when you're on Windows. Of course, on Mac, we don't have a choice. There's only one. But, it's just another tool in the toolbox. If things aren't working right or don't seem right on Safari, then check it out under Chrome and you might find that it renders better on Chrome. But yeah, it's a good tool to have in your toolbox.
I think oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Some people, I think Brad has had a better experience using Google Sheets in Chrome as opposed to in
Right.
Safari.
This is Desi, and
Yeah, Desi.
that's actually why this came up, because I had a really difficult time with the Google Sheet when I was trying to fill it out for the portal, the hosting portal the other day. And
This is Herbie.
so anyway, Brad and I have been talking about this, and
Okay.
and so I was just kind of curious because when I opened that sheet the other night, it wasn't populating everything. Like, it was showing me the names of events, but there was nothing marked in any of the spaces, or it was just very weird and very frustrating. And anyway, that's
Oh.
where the basis of this question came from.
Yeah. Okay,
This
go
is
ahead,
Herbie.
Herbie.
I will say this much: if I ever get an M1 Mac or M3 or whatever chip it is, I am gonna be very nervous to try Safari with Google Sheets because everybody that's had an M1 Mac, it seems like you have all these struggles with Google Sheets, and I do not have any problems with Google Sheets on mine. I can open any of the spreadsheets, they immediately pop up. I have the Braille thing turned off, the accessibility turned on, and it just works for me. So, and that's on multiple Mac computers too, not just one. So it's not a fluke. So I don't know what M1 does differently, but yes, Brad.
Yeah,
I don't really think it's got anything to do with M1 versus
No.
Intel. I use I use Chrome for the portal and the scheduling work because I think the sheets work better if you're signed in, and I don't want to be signed in on the browser I use all the time. So I use Chrome only for those two sites, for those Google Sheet sites, and I stay signed in and I keep them open, all the time. And that's the only thing I'm using Chrome for. Now, time to time, I might need to use Chrome for something. I needed to use it for something the other day, and I just open another window, do what I've got to do in it, and when I'm done, I close that window and leave the portal and the schedule. They're tabs in their own window, and I just leave them there. But I don't want to be signed in when I'm doing all the rest of my stuff on the internet, which is what I do that on Safari, mostly. Sense. So that's another issue, but I don't really know that I think, I don't care for Google Docs and Sheets anyway. I put
Me
up with
too.
it. I put up with it, but which is one reason why I don't know if Safari is really the issue or if it's just my lack of, shall we say, competence in using the Google Sheets and Docs, and I've never even bothered to mess with slides. But so I don't know if the
This is Herbie.
experience is really any difference on M1 versus Intel.
Okay, I think I heard Herbie.
Chanel, you can speak to this more, but I feel like you've had a little bit more problems with Google Sheets with your, especially the newer Google Sheet on your M1 Mac than you did on the old Intel.
I don't know. I still had a problem I mean, I always figured out how to work around it, but thing was really weird with. So I was having no luck in that hosting portal a couple weeks ago. Um, and so what I ended up doing is I thought, okay, I'm going to try this in Google Chrome. So I went into my address bar in Safari and copied the link. Well, or no, maybe I copied it from the email. I don't remember. But anyway, um, I thought, okay, and I'm going to paste this into Chrome. Well, I didn't have Chrome. I thought I did. So I ended up just going into Safari, making sure I had a blank page, blank address bar, pasted the link again from the link that I just copied, and then it worked just fine. So don't ask me. Um, Sometimes I think, I have on some sheets, I have a problem if somehow I've been signed into, because Safari does store information or Google or whatever, the fact that you have used two accounts. I mean, you still ultimately pick which account you're assigned into, but if I was signed into more than one in the past, it'll say, you're signed in with blah, blah, blah. And then you have to choose an OK button. And um, so just those things because I'm managing, several Google accounts. And that's where Brad has a point that, it might be better to do some of that in Chrome. But I think, like Brad, that I don't think it's so much an M1 or an Intel Mac. It's just the finickiness of the sheets and the competence or lack thereof of me, the user. So there you go. But hopefully, Desi, you can have a better experience with Sheets in Google Chrome. And yeah, I know some things work. I like the Braille support, for instance, does not work in Google Sheets, but accessibility does. So, anyway, does anyone have a new question?
Raheel?
Yes, Raheel?
Number one is what's the shortcut command to open up music? And number two is how do you authorize Apple Music to play on your Mac? And also how yeah, and how do you authorize that? And then number three is when I was at the Apple store, some like the guy that was selling me the Mac told me that it was a 2023 M2 MacBook Air, and I'm like, well, that's kind of wrong. And then I looked at my settings, and it's a 2022. How could this be?
Hmm. Okay, so how to get
This,
to.
this
Yeah,
is
go ahead,
Brad.
Brad. Yep.
The guy was BSing you. I mean, you want to know what it is? Go to VOM, go to the menu bar, go to the Apple menu, go to About This Mac. It'll tell you right there what it is. If the guy at the store tells you anything other than what you're told and about that Mac, he is incorrect. And I can't remember when the M2 MacBook Airs came out. Did they come out last fall? I believe November. I don't remember
Didn't they
when
come
they
out in
came out.
March or what was it in
They may have
March?
come out this year, in which case they are 2023. But go with what About This Mac says.
Mm-hmm,
Okay.
mm-hmm.
Don't trust that the guy in the store knows what he's talking about. That's number one rule.
Right.
As far as your shortcut to music. I'm not aware that there is one. Go to the dock, you'll find music, VOD, type MU. You're on music, hit enter. It'll open. As far as authorizing, go to the menu when in the music app, go to the menu bar. There's an item there. I believe it says accounts. Arrow down and you'll find something that says authorize this computer. It says something like that. You'll find it when you get to it. And it'll want you to sign in with your Apple ID or whatever app ID you use for the it's your Apple ID. I don't think it's because same thing like for the App Store. You'll need to sign in for the App Store as well. They don't make you sign in the first time you buy anything.
Because I'm already
even if it's
signed
free.
in, but I have trouble. I can't get Apple Music to play for some reason.
Go to that accounts menu and make sure that you've authorized the computer.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Who else would like to have a turn?
This is Brad. I'm looking at the music app right now. When you go to that accounts menu at the top, there's a place where it shows my name and it says sign out and it shows I'm signed in. But farther on down is an item that says authorize this computer, and you sub menu. So I right arrow and it opens up the sub menu, and there's an item that says authorize this computer, but of course it's already authorized. And I believe underneath it is one that says deauthorized because you can only authorize so many devices. I think it's 5. So your iPhone, an iPad, a Mac, another device, but you can only access your Apple Music, account, which is also accessed with your Apple ID on, I think it's 5 devices.
How do you get it to play though from the library or from anywhere?
Go to the sidebar, go to a category like albums, and stop interacting with the sidebar, VO right arrow till you get to the albums grid or whatever, then interact with it, VO right arrow to an album, and VO spacebar will open the album. You navigate. It's very laborious, but you can go to you may be able to go to an album and open a shortcut menu and just say play. I can't remember, but to be honest with you, I keep my music as on the Mac, but I tend to play it using an iOS device. It's just easier. I even have I have my wife's old iPhone, and I use that only to play music on, and I'll play it through a Bluetooth speaker or a HomePod or something like that. But
there you go.
It's just easier on the iOS device. But you can do it. Just interact. It's just,
Yeah. Does anyone else like to use Apple Music to play stuff, or do you use a different player? I like Brad. I use my iOS device.
This is Brad. Here, I'm in it
Brad.
now, and I just found the fastest way. I'm in the music app. VOFN right arrow takes me to, that's VO end, END, and the grid, albums grid, because I'm by default, it's on the album. I'm on the grid. I interact, and I start out with the A's, and you can always just type the first couple of letters of an artist, like STEE. It'll take me to Steely Dan, and then I'm at that point in the list, and I can start from there and find what I want. VO spacebar, open it up,
Yep.
And then there's a bunch of stuff in there. So,
It's Mary Ellen.
Okay, so I think we had Herbie and then Mary Ellen.
So I love I love Apple Music personally. I use it all the time for my main music player. I did use Tidal back in the day, and then Apple Music introduced the high quality music, so and I ditched Tidal in exchange for Apple Music. Spotify is accessible on the Mac. It does look like it's user friendly, but Apple Music I just prefer. Especially, I like it better on the phone, to be fair, but I still use it a lot on the computer. You can access your playlists. It's very easy to add things to the library. Now, one problem I do have is sometimes it takes
You're
a while for
sounding
multiple
different
computers.
and you're
Is that
thumping or
better?
Popping.
whatever. Popping.
Okay, is that better? I should not be popping now.
I don't know.
Okay, so basically, I like the fact that I don't like that multiple computers sometimes seem to take longer to sync up, especially older ones, and that is a little bit annoying. So sometimes I have to wait for things to sync up a little bit. But in general, yeah, the music app that's built into your app is beautiful. It works really well, and yeah, I encourage people to definitely give it a try.
All right, thank you. And Mary Ellen.
Why couldn't he just have Siri play whatever he wants to hear?
Oh, that's a thought. Yeah.
This is Herbie.
Yes, Herbie.
I think it does work on the Mac. Yes, having Siri play stuff.
All right, yeah. Sometimes just think Siri is not always very cooperative, misunderstands you, but when she does, that's great. Yeah, especially if you know what you want to play. If you don't really, my problem is I never know exactly what I want to listen to.
This
But
is
that's
Desi.
yes, Desi.
I also, like you and Brad, I tend to want to play music from my iOS device. I actually have both my iPhone and I have an iPad Mini 6, and I will play music from one of those two things um before I do it from the Mac. Partly that's because I do have a Mac Mini and I don't have speakers hooked up to it, so the little speaker in it is okay if you aren't using headphones. I mean, it gets the job done, but it wouldn't be what I would want to listen to my music on. Um, so anyway, that's just me and that's how I do it.
Awesome. Yeah. It's so
Raheel,
nice to
review
be
topic.
portable with our music. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead, Raheel.
Um, so I tried when I was on the logon screen, you know how you have to sign in when you power up your computer?
Uh-huh.
I was at the logon screen and it only shows one voice at the logon screen, which is the female voice, Samantha or whatever, telling me to log in instead of Alex, like the old Mac, the way I had it set up to have Alex at the logon screen. But then once I logged in, I got the Alex voice downloaded. But Alex doesn't say log in, so how do I get that set up for the logon screen to get Alex back on the logon screen to tell me when to log in instead of hearing the Samantha voice all the time? Thank you.
Okay.
This is Brad.
Yes, Brad.
Do you use oh God, why can't I say encrypted? What's it called, Chanel? Because I don't use it.
Use
File foot bit what can I
Whatever it
say?
is, the something vault.
Yeah, File Vault. Do you use File
File
Vault?
Oh,
vault. Yeah.
It
File
probably you
Vault.
do because
Yeah.
it wants you to do it by default when you set up your Mac. That could be the problem. Is it, Chanel? Because I don't
Yeah,
use it.
I do
And I'm able
use
to open the speech attributes rotor, VO command shift right left arrow and change my voices. And you said all you've got is Samantha, and that could be it because you've got File Vault, and it may not let you change the voice.
I
Only
will
at the
try that
logon
next
This
screen.
time
Herbie.
I'm on. Go ahead, Herbie.
You're unable to change voices.
On the
No,
At
logon
the
the
logon
screen.
screen.
yeah, logon.
Okay, that'll be interesting if you can do it with the file vault off. I thought you were stuck with whatever voice it gave
No,
you
with
by default.
I do it
But
with the
I
file vault
wonder.
off. Yes.
Okay. But does it use the actual voiceover voice or does it use the announcement voice?
Yeah, I think it actually uses the actual voiceover voice, I think.
Because if it uses the announcement voice,
This
then you
is
need to
Desi.
actually change it under speech, not under the voiceover utility or the VO rotor.
Okay, go
But
ahead, Desi.
I can tell you that on my Mac Mini, which I bought earlier this year, it does on the login screen, it does default, or it did default. Oh, I think mine still does, but I did turn off File Vault. But anyway, it defaults to the Samantha voice. It's not that other voice that we hear sometimes.
Alex.
It's no, well, no, no, the one that makes announcements sometimes. It's not
Fred.
Samantha, but yeah.
Yeah, because I want to be able to get that back on, and I don't know how to turn off File Vault.
Okay, well, you can turn off File Vault in system in security and privacy. Maybe it's called privacy and security, but I'll have to look the next time in File Vault. I have no desire to change the voice there because, after all, I'm just logging in, and then after I've logged in, I get the voice that I want. So um, I will see what happens when I do that. But otherwise, like they said, you'd probably have to turn File Vault off to get your default voice at the logon.
This is Brad.
Yes, Brad.
I mean, I know that when I went from Monterey to Ventura, the default voice changed from Alex that I had to Samantha. And I had to go into my voiceover utility, go to voices, and download Alex, which had been the default voice since as long as I've been using a Mac. And once I downloaded it, I then was able to change my voice when I was signed in, of course, back to Alex. But on the login screen, it was still Samantha. And all I had to do was open the voice attributes rotor, go to voices, and there was Alex and change to it. But again, I'm not using File Vault. So that's why I'm wondering. But Raheel, when you got your Mac, did you have to download Alex or was it just there?
When I got my Mac, I had to download Alex.
Okay.
And all that.
Okay.
And then I had to.
That's what I thought. Did you have to upgrade to Sonoma or was your new Mac already on Sonoma?
I had to upgrade to Sonoma.
Okay. It was in the box sitting in inventory and it was still on Ventura. Okay.
Yes. And also, how accessible is the recovery option if you forgot your log on password? And because I had to call accessibility and they told me to
I never forgot mine.
Click with the trackpad to get to recovery assistant or something like that. Like, how accessible is that? Does anybody?
It's always been accessible. You just turn on voiceover and it works. You may have to do Command F5 to turn it on, but whenever I've been in recovery, it's always been accessible. It might not have the good voice. It used to be, I haven't been in it in a while, but it used to have the Fred voice, which is horrible.
If I did forget the password in the future, though, how would I get recovery assistant going and not have to click the mouse to go back and forth?
It is so I forget what it.
On the M1s, you hold down the power button and just don't let go, and it goes into recovery.
Right. That's right.
And then once you're in there, you can navigate. You may have to turn voice, VOF5, Command F5 to turn voiceover on. And then you should be able to navigate around. Now, I have come across something where I had to click on something. VO spacebar wouldn't do it. So I can't remember if I cheated because I have a little bit of vision and moved the mouse to it, or if I routed the mouse using VO Command F5 should route the mouse to the voiceover cursor, and then VO Shift spacebar should do a mouse click. I bet that once voiceover is running, that should work.
Yep.
I haven't been in it in so long.
Yeah.
You have to do it when you're setting up some of the Rogue Amoeba products, and
Yeah, that was the last time I was
that
in
was
there.
a while back. So I don't know.
It's Mary Ellen. I
Yes,
have a
Mary Ellen.
question. I have a question about that. I have my computer set up since I'm the only one using it where I don't have to log in at the start screen or, when you boot it up. And if you do the recovery and you hold your power button in, I mean, I've never done this. And um, is it different if you don't have to log in? Or, I mean, I don't know how this works. I know if I hold the power button, it turns the computer off. So I don't understand this. I mean, why they have it that way?
This is Brad.
Yes, Brad.
Well, why they have it that way is a question for Apple, but because it's different than it used to be. There was a keyboard command
Right.
and I think this is actually better because you had to start it and then you had to wait, and at the right moment after you heard a tone, and I don't even hear a tone anymore. I have a Mac Studio. It boots up so fast it doesn't even play the tone. But maybe that's also because my default speaker is the speakers that are in my monitor, and I have those turned all the way down so that I never hear them because I use AirPods when I'm on the thing so that nobody but me hears my screen reader. But first of all, you shouldn't be turning off your computer by pushing the power button. You should go to the Apple menu and find shutdown and do a proper shutdown.
Why
Yeah,
not?
that's
And
right.
let it go through the sequence. But to get into the recovery mode, you reach around to the back and you've got the power button on your Mac Studio, right? Or on a Mac Mini, pretty much the same thing, or on a MacBook Air. It's on the keyboard where the Touch ID sensor is. Press that down and don't let go. No matter what your button is, if it's on the Mac Studio, Mac Mini, it's on the back, laptop, MacBook, it's on the keyboard. Press it and don't let go. And it will eventually go into recovery mode. Now, if you can't see anything, you're just going to have to sit there and wait about 30, 40 seconds and go, it must be there because it's not going to say nothing and you're not going to hear a sound. And after a while, you're just going to have to go, okay, it must be there. So you let go of that button and then just wait a little longer in case it's still loading up, which it probably isn't. 30, 45 seconds, it should be there. Do Command F5 and it should just start talking.
Okay, well, I can hear the chime when when it starts up. I rarely shut down. I mean, I think I've shut down maybe once since I've had this computer.
Right.
Because I just leave it on.
Well, restart it every now and then, but yeah, so do I. I leave mine on unless I go out of town.
Why not hold the power button to turn it off sometimes?
Because that's not the right way to do it.
That's not the right way.
No, it's not.
You want it to go through a proper shutdown sequence, and it cleans up files and it does a little housekeeping when it shuts down.
And I have a tip for that shutdown sequence. So sometimes one of my students in this class was asking about, why when they turn on, they, would take the time to close down a bunch of apps and stuff before turning off the computer, and then they'd start it up and all the apps would be there again. And the reason is when you start, before you shut down or restart, there is a box and it only needs to be checked once. But you go into your Apple menu with VOM, head down to shut down or restart, and if you want to bypass the screen altogether, you can go to that shutdown or restart, and then you can hold down the Option key while pressing Enter. But if you don't want to bypass that screen, and you might not want to the first time, because what you'll do is you'll press VO space or Enter on shutdown or restart, and then you will VO right and find a box that says reopen Windows when logging back in, and you want to make sure that is unchecked. and that will really give your Mac a clean restart. So,
And you will never have to touch that checkbox
again,
again
yep.
unless you want them to reopen, and I don't.
No, neither do I.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's
neither
how
do
you
I.
properly shut down. You do not press the power button. Unless, the only reason you do that is if VoiceOver is just not responding. But even then, you should be able to restart it. You can always do Command Option Escape to bring up a menu or a dialog that shows your apps that are open. And so you can close or force quit a difficult app, but never just hold the button to restart.
Mm-hmm.
This is Brad.
Yes,
And,
Brad?
and since Chanelle already told the secret about once you're on shutdown, hold the Option key and hit Enter, and it will just shut down. You'll bypass that shutdown dialog. But once you VO M and you're on the Apple menu, hit the down arrow key. I think you got to at least do that. You could just type SH and it'll jump you
Yeah.
straight to shutdown. Then hold the Option key or RE RE is restore. If you want to
Is it?
restart, you got to type
Yeah.
REST, because the RES will also go to no, REC, recently used apps. You go RES,
Okay.
you'll go to restart. But I
Yep.
just shut down. SH takes you shut down, Option Enter. It just shuts it down.
Yes. Very
Thank you
nice.
very much for that information.
Yeah.
Um, and Finder opens up automatically. Is there a way to get rid of that so it doesn't?
Okay, so we are kind of losing. I want to well, just real quick, Finder always stays open. But is there anybody else with a question during this last? We're almost done, but if you have a question, now is your chance to ask. And if you don't, that's fine too. But
Hi, it's Vanessa.
yeah, Vanessa, go ahead.
Hi. Could you recommend a Bluetooth keyboard
Oh,
that I could have with the Mac?
I can tell you my favorite one. Well, actually, um, mine is the Apple Magic Keyboard with numeric keypad, but that's the full size. That is a little bit
Mm-hmm.
more pricey. Um, I know that some people really like even just the regular Apple Magic Keyboard, the regular size. Some people use Logitech. Um,
Okay. So
anyone
why is the
else?
one that you have? Why is the one that you have? Why is it pricey? What's the difference? Why is it just the
Because it
name
has
brand
like
or?
a full set of it has the numeric keypad to the right,
Okay.
and it
Mm-hmm.
has the full, like, it has 19 function keys. It has the
Mm-hmm.
six pack with the home, page up, page down,
Right.
and
Yeah, that's what I
FN. So
want.
it's
Okay.
it's a pretty it's it's a it's a
Mm.
low profile keyboard, but it's still it's um like the
It's
keys are
Apple.
pretty
You
flat
get
too.
what you pay for.
Yeah, you do.
Okay. Okay. Can you use that also, like, because I one time I was listening to something with Free, and he had a keyboard, and it had three. Like, if you push one, I guess that would go for the iPhone. Then if you push
Nope.
another, it's for the pad. Oh, okay.
That's a Logitech
Okay.
thing.
Yeah, if you want something like that, do Logitech.
This is
But
Desi.
Okay.
I
here's the
also,
problem with Logitech. I've had one before, and I wasn't able to change the behavior of the F keys, so that you have to hold down VO and the FN key in order for the F keys to perform as regular F keys instead of hardware keys. And on their full size keyboard, the FN key is in the six pack. So you cannot hold down a voiceover modifier, an FN key, and then you need a third hand to hit the
Oh
F
gosh.
keys. So I got one. I thought
Um,
it was a nice keyboard. I got it out 10 minutes later. It was back in the box on its way back to Amazon. I said, it's no good because that option to change the behavior of the F keys does not show up in keyboard preferences for some reason.
Unfortunately, with a Logitech, you have to use their proprietary software called Logitech Options or Logi Options, which is somewhat accessible. So yeah, I've played around. It's doable, but Desi, go ahead.
I was just going to say that I have the same keyboard that Chanelle has, and I love mine. It's just got everything there that you could possibly want. And it's Apple, so it just works.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Wow.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You pair it just by connecting it to the computer with a wire.
Oh, yeah.
You don't even have to go to a pair. You just connect it with a wire. Little thing pops up on the screen, and it is just paired.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
It's automagic.
And Chanelle, I think you're talking about the number pad, right? Where the enters on all the way to the right, like a standard desktop. Is that what you're talking about? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Very good. Well, we have 5 minutes. Does anyone have a question during this last little bit of time?
This is Dan.
Yes, Dan, go ahead.
On that last point about the Logitech keyboard, you say you have to connect it with a wire. Where do you plug it in on a MacBook Air?
So he was talking about connecting the Apple Magic keyboard with a wire, and that automatically pairs it. But that plugs into one of the USB-C ports on the keyboard or on the Mac, because it's a USB-C cable that comes with it, or Lightning.
Oh, okay. So you just plug it into a
Lightning on one end and
Lightning on one
USB-C
end
on the other.
Yeah.
Okay. Just plug
or
it
if
into
it's older,
USB-C.
USB-A.
Yep.
Just plug it into a
This is
USB-C port. Okay.
Yeah, just plug it in USB-C on the computer. There's a Lightning port on the back side by the F keys on the keyboard, and it will just automatically pair with any Mac.
Yep.
And that cable comes with the keyboard, right?
Yes, it does.
Yes. This is the Apple Magic keyboard. Logitech.
Right.
Some keyboards have batteries. Some have.
No. I'm just interested. You
This
guys
is
got me
Herbie.
sold
Okay.
on a Magic keyboard. That's the best way to go, I think.
It is. Yes, Herbie, go ahead.
I was just going to mention not for the MacBook Air, this is relevant, but if you have like say a Mac Mini, no, you should, I would think, be able to use a USB-A port as well if that's the type of cord you have to connect your keyboard. So I just thought I'd mention that.
Yeah, either one works.
All right.
Brad, they also sell a version of the keyboard both with and without Touch ID sensor. And
That's
if you're
right.
buying one for like a Mac Mini, Mac Studio, something like that, that it isn't a laptop with a built-in keyboard.
We're going to find out.
You want to go ahead and spend a little bit more and get the one with the Touch ID sensor if you are wanting to use this keyboard with a MacBook Pro or MacBook Air, since that key has a built-in keyboard and a Touch ID sensor on it. You do not need to buy one. I'm not even sure that the second Touch ID sensor would even work because it's got one built in. I don't know. Chanelle, what do you have? But I was thinking you save yourself some money. You don't need a second Touch ID sensor, even if it does
No,
work.
you don't. I'm still using my keyboard from several years ago. And it does not have a Touch ID. It's easy to reach over to my Mac and touch the Touch ID sensor, that or my Apple Watch,
I have two of them. I have one that I use with my Mac Studio that does have a Touch ID sensor, and I have one that I've had for several years that I pair with my MacBook Pro, and it's thin, and I could stick it in my suitcase.
No,
I
said
Sorry, I think Herbie was unmuted. Go ahead,
anyway,
Brad.
It's light and it's easy. I'll take it when I travel because I'm not crazy about doing long-term typing on the MacBook Pro's keyboard. I bump the
Right.
trackpad. I do all kinds of stuff, and I like having a full keyboard with a numpad.
Yeah, me too. Although I don't know that we were kind of having a debate the other day about using the numpad for numbers I think it's easier if I'm already typing just to type the numbers, use the numbers on the number row, but to each
It's a
their own.
personal preference.
It is
Yeah,
a personal
I
preference. So,
hate the number for numbers. That's just me.
okay, well, you and Herbie both then. All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us tonight. We will see you
Thank you.
back in iBug for all of our other events, and then Mac and Talk on the 28th of November. So,
Chanel, this is
yes.
Desi. Just real quickly, I just had to comment about that. I feel the same way you do. I love the number row.
Yeah.
So maybe it's a
Me
girl
too.
guy thing.
Maybe. I don't know. Who knows?
Me
Maybe.
too.
Okay.
Thank you
Thanks,
guys. Have a good
everybody.
Thank you.
night.
Have a great evening.
Okay, bye. Good
Bye.
night.